We are ready to start our first CI day in Pine Bluff campus. We have a little bit of delay because some confusion with the hotel. So some of the guests, they thought they're gonna stay, we thought they're gonna stay in Hampton in Pine Bluff. So they stayed in Hampton in Little Rock. So, so that was one reason why, Mr. Abiadi didn't find them in the hotel yesterday. So that was the confusion. They are on the way. But however, this won't affect our program. And thank you, Chancellor, welcome you here. And we're going to have the same program, but Mr. Abiati going to be the first one starting. No, Mr. After Chancellor, Mr. Abiati.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to thank you for being here, and I appreciate our scientists and guests who are here to share with us. And Dr. Adams, who we work with, we're part of a research alliance with only 5 institutions. We are in it because of the level of research dollars that we generate. And my accolades go out to Dr. Montezavi and Dr. Walker, who are doing what I want them to do. And I hope that you will enjoy this and take advantage of it. Now, we have a great opportunity, but we must take advantage of it. And that's what we want to kick off here. And I sent out another notice yesterday to remind people about this. So I hope you have a good conference. Anything that I can do to make it more productive, please let me know. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, our first speaker is going to be Mr. Abiati. And also I want to acknowledge Mr. Jerry Adams. I know him a long time, and we have been in many workshops and conferences. And welcome you to UAPBK. Please go.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Well, it's great to be here, and I see so many familiar faces from all over the state, and that's the way we like it in Aron, because we do cover the entire state here, and it's fantastic. I congratulate UAPB on this day. This is extremely significant, sir, and everyone here needs to understand how supportive your chancellor is. You have seen the documents that have come from his office. He knows what's going on. He sees the value of cyber infrastructure in this campus. And I want to speak a few moments about why. What's this for? Why do we do this? And I'm really excited that we have a mixture here of students and faculty, because this is such a shared resource. This is such a big time for the state of Arkansas. And no one can do it by himself or herself. It takes everyone together. And we want to dispel some myths, and I want to dispel those myths as I go through this presentation. And those of you that have seen me do this before, you know some of the slides I'm going to show because you've seen me do it time and time and time again. Well, I'm just an old retired military guy, and we learned very clearly, repetition is important. And I'll keep showing the same slides until I make presentations, and I'll have the first row talk about the first 3 slides, the second row talk about the second. Then I'll know that we all understand what's going on. For those of you that don't know what ARON is, the Arkansas Research and Education Optical Network, we are Arkansas's contribution to an extremely large international, extremely high-speed, high-performance network tool. And my colleagues that will be showing up here pretty soon are from other states that have similar resources. These are the guys that we talk to all the time, and it's exciting to see them here to show off what we're doing. This shows the standard slide and gives you the explanation that everyone sees about what ARON is from an infrastructure standpoint. We're unique in that we are a wholly owned higher education fiber optic network. That's kind of an unusual thing. And by we, I mean higher education. And there are many reasons for that. Our applications are different, our needs are different, and it just takes that type of ownership and management to make this work for you, for sure. We are run by a board of directors made up of the chancellors and presidents of our comprehensive 4-year institutions. And that is significant, very significant. I have got 14 bosses. And that's busy. That's a busy day, but that's okay. I really enjoy that, because every single one of them understands what it is we're trying to do, and they care enough to say the same thing in the boardroom they say in the parking lot, and that is extremely important. ADHE is also involved very heavily, very supportive. And, you know, we've got to have that so we have a statewide perspective. Now, from the beginning, we said this is a research and education infrastructure. I stole this slide from NSF. Researchers have seen this before. And you say, well, how does this relate to our research goals? Well, this pretty well tells you. The NSF, NIH, others tell us these are the kinds of things that we should be doing with cyber infrastructure. Anybody know what cyber infrastructure is? Those of us in the business toss it around like, well, yeah, everybody knows what it's like. What is cyber infrastructure, sir?
Network of supercomputers.
Well, that's part of it. Any cyber infrastructure professionals in the room that would care to take a shot at that? What do you think, Jeff? What is?
Cyber infrastructure is the equipment, the people, the planning, everything that it takes to make all of the components work to your advantage.
Yeah.
It's the whole encompassed package of goods.
Indeed it is, and thank you. That hardware, software, skinware, and that passion behind it to make good things happen for our students, for our citizens. That's what this is about. It's applying all of that technology, all of those people, for very specific tasks in research and education. And we use this slide as kind of a guide. So what is it that the guys in DC want us to do? We're going to be sure we do that. This honeycomb was not done by us. This was done by some of our friends at Axiom a couple of years ago when we were putting together a cyber infrastructure strategy for the state of Arkansas. Did you know that we had one of those? Yes, we do. You needed to have one of those if you were going to send grants in to the NSF and NIH and say, we want money to help grow our cyber infrastructure. And they said, well, what's your strategy? So we created a strategy. Dr. Amy Apon did a phenomenal job of leading the group to help us put together. This honeycomb came out of the corporate side of the house when they looked at all the cyber infrastructure resources in Arkansas. And what we're the most proud of is if you look right in the middle, you see there's RON and our high performance computing resources. That's key. And if you looked at every one of the states that are involved in this, you'll see a similar type of positioning. That the high performance networking, the high performance computing, those cyber infrastructure resources have got to be at the center. And the beauty of it is you own it all. You command it all. Okay? So the big question is, okay, now that you've got it, what are you going to do with it? Okay? What's it all about? There are three things that are important as far as RON is concerned. What we're all about is access, and we're not talking about the classic access. When people talk about access normally, they talk about broadband access and subscription. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about access for our students and our research faculty and our citizens to knowledge. Access to the rest of the world. We can't create, we can't invent, we can't innovate if we don't know what's going on around us. So RON works every day at this access component. Opportunity. It's one thing to say, boy, it would be great to do these kinds of things. It's another thing to have the opportunity to do them. Well, I'm here to tell you, you have the opportunity because of a tremendous group of people that have stood up long before my time here, stood up and said, we want to make this happen for Arkansas. So folks, they've done their job. It's your turn. Outcomes. RON is just to the right of Attila the Hun when it comes to outcomes. We're not the least bit interested in flashing lights and gizmos and all that kind of stuff. We want to see something come out the other side. Okay? This is extreme. For me personally, this is a mission, a passion. I have grandchildren here. And I was gone for 30 years. I just had the opportunity to come back. And Arkansas can do some amazing things here if we all work together and we start sharing these resources. And that's the beauty. Not only within Arkansas, but the gentlemen that are walking in at this point are our guests from other states and other groups that do the same thing. And so we are connected to them and they to us. Guiding principles. Every organization has to have guiding principles. We're very simple about that. We are an economic development asset for the state of Arkansas. All of these high-performance networking assets in the states are economic development assets. I can tell you, people always say, well, what's all this collaboration worth? First time I did this, when we signed the papers in another state that said we're going to build this thing, the outcome within a semester was $78 million worth of federal grants. And we hadn't even turned the spade yet, okay? Here, we have gotten the infrastructure in place on all the campuses except one, and we're going to get that one. That's going to happen. It is going to happen. In the last 2.5 years, and not solely because of this, but because of the hard work of a lot of people, we have over $110 million in Arkansas that we didn't have before. Now, is that significant? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And if anyone thinks that that's the work of one individual, you're out of your mind. That type of thing does not happen without a very efficient and effective team. No other way. And I'm here to tell you, you've heard about the $102 million grant that UAMS and the 2-year campuses and RON we're very fortunate to get. That happened because of a very intense national competition. It happened because UAMS stepped up, the 2-year campuses stepped up, and we were very fortunate to be involved in that team. And we said, we can do this, and we can do this better than anybody. And that's why they write the check for $102 million here. It's not because of us, it's because of all of us. And again, the infrastructure is one thing. The infrastructure is not what's important. It's what you do with it that counts. Number 2, we are a collaborative environment. You know what our gigantic staff in RON is like? How many thousands of people we have on the staff? You can count us all on one hand. Okay? Now, if you stop and think about that, and think about the impact that those 5 people and all of the hundreds of people on campuses and the state government and every place else that have been very supportive of us, that is significant. That says this is real. And so we are in this business to empower everyone in higher education. That's what we do. And then you hear about cyber infrastructure initiatives in the state. Now, we're the link between those. We're the physical link between those. And in many cases, we get to be the philosophical link between them as we talk about these kinds of things and work together. And then with our colleagues in other states, we work very hard to say that we need to share our resources. And we do a great deal of that. These were the founding members. You notice they're the four-year institutions. This is what our little network looks like today. You see the red lines? There's a reason why they're red. The infrastructure is not the important thing here. It's what you do with it. It's the applications that count. The red line between Memphis and Little Rock is there because our colleagues with MCAN, our sister organization in Tennessee, are trying to work up the applications to connect to us. We're not going to connect you to another state, another network, unless there's a reason to do so. And that reason to do so are concrete applications, things you actually want to do that have specific outcomes. And you'll see a variation of this map a little bit later on. But I just want to make the point that those are red not because of a limitation. They're red because of a conscious leadership decision. That if you don't have applications that benefit both of us, we're not going to connect right now. So what do? Our humongous staff wakes up every morning and we talk about 4 core agenda areas. And these were not accidents. I spent a lot of time looking at what an infrastructure like this can do for states, what states need relative to high-performance networking and high-performance computing and all of those cyber infrastructure tools. 4 areas kept popping up time after time after time. Of course, number 1, research. Basic and applied research. The real core of what we do. Your chancellor has a vision for increasing the research capability of this institution. And he stepped up and said, and we need to have this type of cyber infrastructure to do that. And it's here. The academic agenda. These types of resources do not need to be segregated within the research community. The classroom needs these resources. I can tell you right now, your students expect it. They expect it. Faculty that you want to hire, the type of faculty that I know that the chancellor wants here, are going to ask you, do you have these capabilities? Because if you don't have these capabilities, we're not interested in coming. Sorry. And that's true of every institution in this state. So that's important. We want to take the tremendous capabilities our colleagues in high-performance computing bring to us relative to simulations, relative to virtual learning environments, relative to all those kinds of things that make concepts come alive. Students, you've told us very clearly that you're not interested in just sitting and memorizing all day long. You'd rather tweet, okay? But when it comes to getting involved in an academic concept, immersing yourself in that concept with the inherent risk that goes with that, you're willing to take that step. And quite frankly, if we don't structure that step for you, you go out and structure it yourself. So that's important. That again brings to mind the fact that we've got to have this kind of infrastructure. The academic core agenda wants to scale this cyber infrastructure across the curriculum. We have a national program. We talk about leveraging the silent stimulus, with the silent stimulus being our research infrastructure. And I work with a lot of our colleagues nationwide on that topic and talking about how we can do that. The healthcare agenda. Of course, UAMS has an amazing telemedicine, telehealth system. One of the top 5 in the nation. And folks, I don't mind telling you, I had followed that before I came back home. When I found out how UAMS was doing that, what little resource they had, it absolutely blew me away. They're saving lives every day. And that's extremely important here for us, no doubt about it. As a rural state, if we don't take our health care to our citizens, then we're wrong. We're just wrong. And we shouldn't gripe about people moving from rural areas into metropolitan areas. So healthcare is important, and we support UAMS tremendously. Emergency preparedness is extremely important. We know we've got lots of earthquakes around here, and these kinds of resources are very, very effective in preparation for recovery from these kinds of catastrophic all hazards events. And so we're able to really, really think about that and look at that and do some things with it. We have individuals from different campuses that had these initiatives for us. The research initiative, handled by Dr. Amy Apon. Academic, Rebecca Martindale. Healthcare, Michael Manley, who is second in command of UAMS Telehealth. And they just opened a new simulation lab at UAMS that you've got to see. Then emergency preparedness, Ed Leachman from Arkansas Tech University. We have one of the finest emergency management undergraduate and graduate programs in the United States at Arkansas Tech. And one thing I want you to notice, that's 4 different campuses. You know how those people were selected? They stepped up. I want to do this. And they've done an amazing job of helping us. This is just some examples of some of the research that's going on that Dr. Apon leads, and you'll hear from Jeff Pummel here soon with some of the greater details. CI Train is a grant that we have with West Virginia that has been very effective and very, very helpful. Dr. Walker and I went to West Virginia a few months ago to talk to our colleagues there, and they in turn sent colleagues here. West Virginia has some of the most amazing visualization tools I've ever seen, but they got no network. And we have some visualization tools, but we sure could use theirs. But we have network, so we're working together on that. And there are tremendous, tremendous projects. Our academic team is working with faculty and students to get everybody together and to help us figure out how we utilize these tools. This is the classic online stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Online with a high-performance network has a different meaning than it does under normal circumstances because of the types of applications you can build into your classes, and that is significant. And I'll cover that slide a little bit later. Emergency management, again, this is the obligatory busy slide that I know you can't read, but you have to put that into a presentation somewhere. What this is designed to show you is the national, local, regional, state impact of having this emergency management program and having that connected with our cyber infrastructure. Ed Leachman was the very first person to jump up and say, holy smoke, do I need this network for my program in order to gather the data that I gather, to create the simulations, the training events, those kinds of things that I need to help Arkansas citizens prepare for, recover from, survive these events that happen. Extremely important. Then we come to the UAMS part, telemedicine, telehealth part. This is usually the showstopper that we go through, and I'm this is a very poor rendition of Michael Manley, who does such a beautiful job of explaining the UAMS piece of this pie. This is what when we're all finished with the telemedicine network, what it's going to look like. And the important part of that, I want you to notice the reach, the outreach of this program. We have a chancellor that had a stroke. Because his small community was connected to this, he's almost fully recovered now, Jack Lassiter. Okay? And that's significant, folks. That makes sense. And that's before we get to the real addition to this program. I don't know if you can see that. This is a research project called Angel Eye. You know, we have a lot of folks that have at-risk babies, and we're lucky we have children's. We're lucky we have UAMS here. But you know, sometimes when you bring your baby, you can't stay. You've got other children at home. You've got jobs. You've got to get back. Our colleagues at UAMS have created this device, which obviously looks like an incubator, and you say, well, what's an incubator? What you can't see is attached to that incubator is a high-definition camera and high-definition audio send and receive device. If you have an iPod, an iPad, an anything, iPhone, Android, hemorrhoid, whatever those things are, okay, you're able to dial this up and see your baby. Now think about that. And now they're doing the research on the bonding with the baby, because now you can talk to the baby. The baby can hear your voice. And those of you that haven't had children and haven't had sick children, you can't put a value on that. Just not possible. Amazing, absolutely amazing. And why is this important? Where you live should not determine whether you live or die. Okay? That's serious. This is not a game, ladies and gentlemen. This is real. And it doesn't make any difference where you're from. This is real. And that's what it's all about. Now, we do combine core agendas. I told you to see the map again. This is the map, and this is what's going to look like when we finish adding the 2-year campuses. We received a federal grant that allows us to add 400 healthcare facilities and 22 2-year campuses. And that is very, very important to us as a state. We can talk economic development and workforce development all day long, but if we don't provide the resources for our faculty to get it done, then it's just talk, and talk is cheap. This is what the network, what your network is going to look like no later than 31 July 2013. Why can I be so specific? Because the feds will take my money away by then if I don't finish it. That's why. And so 5, count them 5, people are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with a lot of other good people to make this happen by that time. We have other grants that are impacted. course, here at UAPB with Jesse and the whole crew here, we're always involved in all kinds of grants and programs. And we want you, no matter what your content area happens to be, and students, I'm talking to you too, no matter what you're doing, what your role is at this university, when you are thinking about how you do what you do, think about this cyber infrastructure, think about this network, think about the resources that you have, because you have them, and it's important. The two-year campuses as well, even though they're not connected yet, have already jumped in. And because we're connected to other states that have some resources, there are other grant programs that the two-year campus folks have come to us and said, can we include this in our grant? Well, of course you can, absolutely. That's what this is for. UALR, we have a grant in right now for just a part of the network that we like to connect. But what I'm saying is, this resource is your resource, faculty. It's your resource, students. And you can include it in what you're doing. When you get down to the summary, if we take the creative minds and this advanced cyber infrastructure, that's what RON is. And I put the creative minds first because that's what this is about. Networks connect people, not just computers. Then we take RON and we add the innovative applications, those things that we do that generate outcomes. And this is the interactive point of my presentation. What should be some of the outcomes for the state of Arkansas for this kind of technology? Better jobs. What else?
More research.
More research. To do what?
Get more jobs.
Okay. All right. What else?
Increase personal income.
Increase personal income.
Improvement of the educational system.
Improvement of the educational system.
Keep your city alive.
Keep your city alive. Now think about that. Those answers are coming from all parts of this audience, okay? It's not just one or two people. But you can't do this unless you have the resources. Your chancellor, the other chancellors have gone to bat to see that you have these resources. And that's what RON is. Now, if you have any questions, I am RON rumor control. Okay? If there are any questions at any time about anything we're doing, or people might think that we're doing, I would appreciate a call or an email. Actually, an email better because I don't answer the telephone. I am religious about email. I don't own an iPhone. I used to, but I turned it back into the university and lowered my blood pressure 20 points. Okay? Old guys can only go so far. And so I figure when you get my age, there's nothing that I can do that needs to be done quickly. And so, you know, but I do answer email, and I need your input. We need your input to help us create applications for our infrastructure. You own it, folks. My guys and gal run it. We try to make sure it does what you want us to do, and that's extremely important. As you go through the day and you listen to our colleagues here from other states, the true experts, the gentlemen that do this and have done this for a long period of time, the gentlemen that we rely upon a lot in the discussions that we have, and we run onto each other all over the place, you know, as we go through this process. The reason we have RON is to tap what you've got up here and what you've got right here. That's what it's for. We're only going to realize the benefit of this investment if you take ownership and you start utilizing it to its fullest extent. There's nothing that I would like more than to have to upgrade the network because we have so many applications that we just can't do it like this. I look forward to that day. So having said that, I'm sure I've taken up all of my time. I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all you're doing within cyber infrastructure. And please listen carefully to everything that's going to be said today. Thank you very much.